people are ridiculous. You know, they're throwing out the baby with the bathwater, and that is a huge problem. The enumeration, so then they're going to push people into total secularism, like many people who are Jewish that you know, and therefore the next step is easily going into some other religious persuasion, which may or may not be the right way of doing things. Angelic orders cannot be admitted. Well, I have some sympathy with that because I think people misplace this angel idea. The belief in immortality must not content itself with the one-sided formulation of bodily resurrection. You know, it should be a more spiritual thing. Maybe there's something to that. You know, most people don't think the body is going to come out of the ground after the ants have eaten it all up. Not many scientific-minded people would like to think that. I'm not saying we shouldn't, but I mean, you know, these people are being pretty cold. But I think the first thing is really the tough thing. How about the position of Israel in world history? We have to do it like this. Judaism is a religion of truth and light. Right, okay. To this is related, and the bearer, and Israel received this task and continued to be the herald and herald of this doctrine. Oh, well, would it were true. To this is related his confidence that the doctrine will progressively become the common possession of the entire, here's the Jewish mission to the world, to enlighten and bring light and so on. Therefore, 7, we must, that's the usual stuff, get rid of the national aspect. Well, they might have gotten rid of it, but Hitler didn't. See, I'm talking in the hindsight of history here. Hitler just pulled the pants down and looked to see if they were circumcised. That's what he was interested in. He didn't care how they prayed or what they prayed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, pretty gruesome, I admit. But, you know, these guys were living in a dream world. I can't blame them, really. I mean, that's what someone said, what do you mean? It's a tough situation they're involved in, but I don't think that their solution is particularly inspiring, put it that way. Separation between Israel and other peoples which existed at one time has no right to be expressed in prayer. Rather, we should express joy that such barriers are falling. The exalted feeling of noble spiritual vocation must avoid any appearance of overbearance. Look into the future should arouse the happy hope of the unification of all mankind. Come on, who's going to respond to that in a religious ceremony among people in a congregation? Yeah, that's what you see in Reformed prayer books, even to this day. The wholly faded from our consciousness is the belief in the restoration of a Jewish state in Palestine. Well, you see how wrong you can be. You can't get much wronger than that. 100 years later, there it was. And a lot of other suffering to boot. You know, this is why I have some issues with this myself. You know, and consequently, the rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem to serve as the unification. You see, the Jews still haven't come to terms with that particular issue. Christians have come to terms with it, evangelicals and others, much more easily than Jews, because they don't have a problem. They just read the prophets. They know what they think on this. The Jews don't read the prophets, so they don't know what they think on this. Same with Moshe Dayan, who left the Muslims in control of the Temple Mount, didn't pay any attention to the prophets. Good or bad, I don't know. But I think that a lot of political problems would have been solved if he had not behaved less precipitously and considered the issue a little more carefully. The same applies to the belief in the ingathering. It wouldn't have become a rallying point now of Muslims as it has been. Muslims never paid much attention to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Mecca was their rallying point. Now everything is the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. You never hear a word about Mecca. So powerful is modern propaganda. So in doing this, he created an issue rather than solving Moshe Dayan. The same applies to the belief of the ingathering of dispersed. Ah, yes, but if they had that belief more pronounced, a lot of them might have escaped more readily what happened. And to everything connected with such a restoration of vanished circumstance, the expression of, see, you just can't change things helter-skelter without considering it, in my view. The petition for its realization would be a blatant untruth. Similarly, the conception which envisions our worship service as sacrifice service is irreconcilable. Okay, I think most people would probably find that to be acceptable. proposition there. Something probably has to be done. Animal sacrifices no longer have the right to represent a desired institution. And the memory of them, too, probably has to be remain free of the program. I'm not sure of that. You can certainly remember the past without repeating it. Okay, I think you get the gist of this. There's another note here from Geiger, 1869. I'll just read the beginning of it, and that's it. Just as there was agreement among the members of the commission and approval on the part of the administration of the congregation concerning the guiding principles and plan based upon them, so too have the most important German prayers, which are recited aloud and which are considered part of the public worship service, been determined in common consultation. However, I bear sole responsibility for the German prayers which are recited silently, as well as for the translations and so on. So, you know, he wrote all this stuff. All power to him. This is not a great poet. He's a pretty good scholar. I don't think he's in position to redo a prayer book. I don't know what he's in position to do, but that's just my own personal view. Now, I haven't had a chance to deal with the Zunz material effectively. Let me just say a few things about Zunz and Frankel, and then we'll call it a day, if you don't mind. So, look, a lot of these things were shattered in 1848 by the uprisings that were put down at that time, and you know, most of this material then moved over to America after that. Leopold Zunz, 1794 to 1886. Actually, he was German. Krochmal was the Romanian. I was wrong on that score. Was an orphan, studied Hebrew, went to the University of Berlin, and so on and so forth. He was one of the ones who felt that we need to emancipate ourselves from within, that we have to be aware of the achievements of Judaism, and the knowledge of the past inspired dignity and self-worth. And he felt we needed to disseminate German culture. I think that he's getting more to, I think, what a lot of people feel. He studied the sermon and so on and so forth. I don't know, hold on now. I'm not sure if